Yeah.
7 whole seasons.
7 seasons.
Damn.
7 seasons,
Fucking
August.
shit. Seven
That's a lot of
seasons.
seasons.
Cannot believe that we actually hit 7 seasons. That is
Uh-huh. Hello, and welcome to Saving People, Queering Things, the supernatural podcast where we say goodbye to Bobby yet again.
oh no. No, it's yelling so loud it's
Noah's
breaking
poor
this
heart.
down.
It clipped. Okay, I won't do it again.
No, we're sorry, Noah. I mean, you did. To be fair, you did predict. This
I did
happening.
call it. Yeah,
You did say this. You basically
did.
described exactly what was going to happen.
basically.
And you were entirely correct when you
I just
described
got
it.
a little bit of the timing wrong, but it was
Yeah,
gorgeous,
But
and
it is a good goodbye, even if
it is.
It
was. He got
Especially-
his goodbye that he didn't get before.
Okay,
Saying
wait,
final Sorry.
No, and we're definitely
We'll get
we're
to it.
gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it because I have some thoughts about it. But
Noah's got some complex feelings about this.
Very,
so
very
we
complex
should get into the
In
description
case-
before we get there.
in case you haven't guessed already, we're pulling up to our season 7 finale, Survival of the Fittest. I'm your host, Noah. Pronouns he, him.
I'm August, and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Sam. My pronouns are they, them.
Okay, and the question of the day I have for my co-hosts is, what type of cat do we think the team would have gotten?
Oh, right. This is the one species short comment. That's in
One
this
species
episode.
short.
I mean, well, I think it largely depends on which character acquires the cat, because I think it's
I mean-
a very different answer depending on which of the three of them is the one
Wait,
that
what was
acquires
the
cat.
question?
What type of cat would the gang have gotten?
Because
Oh,
the
If
cat
Cass
that
was
Cass is going to pick is different than the cat that Dean is going to pick or that Sam is going to pick.
I think Dean
Yeah.
and Cass go together to pick out a cat.
Oh, and then they are okay. So then they end up bringing home more than one cat. Is what's
Okay, yeah,
happening in
there we
that
go.
scenario, because they're not
A
going to
cat
agree
for
on what
each
to
of
bring
them.
home. They're going to end up bringing home two very different cats who are going to fight all the time.
I think if we go by that logic, Cass would be like, well, Sam needs a cat too. If we both have one, Sam's got to have one. Oh, and Meg's hanging out. We should get Meg one too. Oh, and Bobby's still around, right? Is Bobby? Yeah. So let's just get 5 cats.
Oh my
and
god.
Sam is going to be like, I'm not taking care of these cats. And then Cass is going to be Cass about it and also forget to take care of the cats. And Dean's going to be like, somehow I have become responsible for 5 cats.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's less about the type of cat and it's more about the number of
Although
cats.
I feel like Sam, it would
He
Like-
would take care of them
Both of them
secretly.
that would
eventually.
be the
Eventually.
responsible one of taking care of them, but very begrudging.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
That's true.
Or
I feel like Sam would get a Maine Coon.
oh my God, yeah, he would.
Sam's going to get the biggest.
Side
Like-
note, I did have someone on Facebook like reach out if I wanted to adopt a Maine Coon because they had one, and I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, anytime, huge kitty, love it." And they were like, "Okay, cool." And then I realized that never once did they say like for free or like for real cheap. I was like, are you like looking for a specific adoption fee? And they said, "Oh yeah, 2,500." And I said, block.
Said, no.
Never mind.
Said, why are you reaching out to me to try and sell me a $2,500 cat?
You know,
No.
speaking
No.
of wanting to be able to afford a $2,500 cat, this episode marks the inaugural release of our Patreon. It started up right here, right now. Help me get
What
a
a segue.
$2,500
That was
cat.
a really
No,
I was like,
I'm-
where are you going with this segue? And then I remembered.
I would never use that money to buy a cat. I would use it to fucking survive.
But we will use the money that if you want to support us on Patreon, all the links will be in the episode description, and there are some really fun perks and rewards for supporting
Ooh.
us, and the money will go towards us making the podcast even better, towards things like our equipment, towards being able to pay Noah for some of his editing.
Spend more time on it.
create
little
Yeah,
bit
give
of
us more
extra-
content.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay. Speaking of, can I give a little bit of a hint about?
Please give some information about some of the things that are options.
So first off, we have tons of bloopers saved up from somewhere around season 4. I lost the recordings on the ones before that, but plenty of bloopers, plenty of stuff that got pulled from the episodes because it was either not relevant to the conversation or embarrassing or whatever.
We go on a lot of tangents that don't make the
Yeah,
episodes,
that could be
uh,
our subtitle.
as well as the tangents that do make the episodes.
Those,
so-
if they tie back in, I leave them. They're great. especially if they're really funny. Anyway, August and I also talked about starting one at some point, doing like a once a month extra little bonus episode where tentatively titled Penultimate Infinite. I don't know how you feel about that, August. You never really said, but it's
To workshop this title a little
okay.
bit
Okay,
more.
I think it's really funny.
Intimate?
I think it needs
No,
to
no, no.
communicate
Infinite.
something that people
Not
will know.
Infinite. Okay. I
Not
was like, what is?
no. Where we
I feel like
pick a
that's something
show,
else.
right? And August and I are very clearly the people who like, we love saying penultimate as shown by last week's episode. And where we pick a show and one of us watches the first episode of the season, and it has to be a show we've never seen before. One of us
We talked
watches the
about it
first.
being Star Wars and Star Trek specific, so we'll see
Yeah,
if
that was
that's
how
what
it
we stick
started.
with.
We might end up doing one of those, like whichever show we haven't watched across the two of us.
Yeah.
We're open to suggestion
Again,
too.
we're
But
workshopping this.
yes.
It'll be a bonus. It'll be some bonus Patreon content on some other fandoms.
the other person watches only the penultimate episode, so then we have to talk about how we think the season went and like what the fuck is going to happen in the finale without most of the filler in between. I'm excited for it.
I do love it.
Sounds wonderfully chaotic.
We
Ooh.
also have some like physical perks, so like things like stickers and art pieces themed around the seasons.
Super
That you
cool
can also get-
earrings,
Oh yes.
handmade by our one and only Sam icon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want our little
They also
ghosty
make
logo.
keychains if you're not an earring wearer.
So yeah, anyway, there's that. There's a bunch of other things. You can check out all of the information about that. There are tiers that are as low as $1 a month. So if you're at all interested in any bonus content or perks, you can check that out in the description.
Woo. Oh, I do. I also have the character creation for our D&D season, first season. I have all that recorded, so we could talk about that a little bit too. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And now that you've met your hosts for today and figured out how you can support them fungibly, it's time to catch you up. If you haven't watched Supernatural recently, here's what you've missed on the road so far. First up, August is going to recap the show up to this point. Are you ready? You had kind of a hint, a little bit of a helper right at the beginning.
I mean, yeah, I did. But then we talked and I didn't get any chance to think about it. So
Oopsies.
yeah, this could be mostly a season 7 recap, but we'll do some stuff. Yeah, I'm ready.
Perfect. Give you a little countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Sam, Dean, Monster Hunters, Angel, Castiel. Castiel thinks he's helping, isn't really helping, makes a deal with Crowley, accidentally lets all these Leviathans into his body. They take over a bunch of people, kill a bunch of people. They're trying to take over the world and basically turn humans into their, food. Sam and Dean have to go on the run, have to go in hiding, have to try and beat them. Bobby does a lot of amazing things, but also dies and then is a ghost. And they have to figure out how to stop the Leviathan.
Bam. You
All right.
nailed that. Very well done. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we've got Sam ready to recap this week's episode.
Yep.
Season 7 finale. Are you ready?
Kind of.
Okay. You know what? We'll take that as a yes. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Dick and Crowley have a bit of a alpha male showdown, and the boys are trying to figure out how to make this magical bone that kills Dick. And Dick's trying to take over the world as he normally is, and then at the end they kill him, and we also say goodbye to Bobby
Again. Ugh.
Did you hear my
Yes, I
dryer
did.
going off?
It
Do
really-
you want me to do that again?
No,
I'm
I think
so
it's
sorry.
okay.
It
Fuck
has a funny little. I was like,
Yeah.
and then I realized I was like, I know that
What
sound, but it's
dryer
not
is
my
that?
dryer.
It tripped me
It's
out
from a
because it sounds
dryer.
exactly the same as my aunt's dryer, and I was like, how? How?
No, sorry.
No, it was good. I like it. I think it's funny.
Leave it in.
But both very solid ass recaps. I'm ready to talk about this episode, y'all.
Let's do it.
There's
Yeah.
some big
Let's do it.
shit. Jump right on in. Now that we've got all of us caught up and ready to pay attention, it's time for this week's hunt. Today we're pulling up to season 7, episode 23, Survival of the Fittest. And as always, if you know anything about our podcast, you know we always talk about these season finales through the theme of free will.
Oof, boy. Always so much to talk about with this theme.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I look forward to the season finale because we get to come back to this theme that is like so integral to like Supernatural in general.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited. But
If-
yeah, Noah, initial
Can I
thoughts.
just say,
I'm sorry. Please go ahead. I'm sorry.
Rude.
I'm just difficult tonight. I'm tired.
That's very valid.
It's okay. We get it.
You're allowed to be.
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. Wait,
No.
let me look at my notes.
Free will.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I know it happens every time we're at like season 7. But I always kind of forget that they do like a montage with the song
Oh yeah. Yeah.
at the beginning of every finale, and I don't know, there's something really nostalgic about it. I really like it.
It just
Every
feels
time it comes on, I'm
good.
like, yeah, finale.
Yeah.
It does. They do a good job. I do think it's nice that they do this recurring song because
Yeah.
it's so
Mhm.
thematically appropriate, and it does like sort of bring you into like, right, this is the finale.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Especially once it hits, showing some of the Bobby going dark scenes from the previous episodes, and it's like,
Yeah.
carry on my wayward son. And it's like, no, wait,
Oh,
Really
there
drawn
wasn't
us
peace
in.
when
oh,
he
I
was
didn't make
done.
that connection
Fuck.
before.
It hurt a lot. But it's very good. And as long as we're gonna talk about free will, let's talk about the paragon example of free will. Castiel, stoner of the Lord. And I love that once he got the opportunity to choose what he wanted to do, he wanted to follow the flowers, listen to the fruit, loves insects, loves insects a lot. So much so that he showed up on Dean's car naked and covered in
Covered in bees.
oof. And
Yep,
Sam's like long
Sam's
pause
just
and
like,
being like,
I don't need to know any more information.
I
Sam's like,
don't.
actually, please
Let's
don't tell
move
me any
on.
more information.
He
Please tell
doesn't
me
really-
0 more details.
He's like,
Yeah.
sorry, I wasn't there for that. But deep down, he's like, what happened after that? Dean? Like, okay.
After all the bees were gone.
He showed up and
No, but that's
then
like the
what?
whole vibe of like, good for you, brother,
Like-
But like,
don't need to
tell me
know
about it.
anything else.
No details, please.
Yeah, there's a lot of real Destiel stuff in this episode.
Oh, there's so much flirting
Mhm.
in this episode from everybody.
Everyone.
Everyone's flirting with everybody. Well, not everyone, but like most people are flirting
Dick
with
and
someone.
Crowley, they start
Dick and
off
Crowley.
having
Crowley
some real
particularly
tension.
is flirting with
flirty
everyone.
vibes.
Yeah.
I love they kind of go from this like these alpha males like interacting, going back and forth with the contract, and then like the next minute they're like flirting.
They're
and
like,
they like
but how
go
about
back
what's
and
in those
forth from
pants,
both of them.
though?
Like
It's like, what
it's
is
really,
happening?
I love that scene. It's so good.
No, it's a good vibe between everybody this episode. Fucking Meg being like, oh, well, you go talk to him. He was
Meg.
your boyfriend first.
He
like,
was your boyfriend first.
And Dean's
Meg knows
face
what's up.
doesn't
And then
disagree.
No, and then they play. He doesn't. Well, and I feel like at this point too,
Well, he doesn't audibly disagree either.
he's not protesting a whole lot because I think he's learned that like he protests, it just really confirms to people the truth.
Yep.
But also he's just like, yeah, it's sort of an established fact at this point that like
Yep.
him and Cass, there's been something, it's complicated. Also, they play right after that scene, they play such a romantic sort of song.
Yes.
Like the writers are, and the not just the writers, like the production team is not trying hard to like hide the like significance of like Dean and Cass's relationship
Yeah.
to like this plot line.
Very much so, because they are so heavily involved in both each other and the plot. It's
Oh yeah, it's again the relationship. Like I think this is like the third finale in a row where the relationship. Well, it's the second one in a row for sure. And even when you think about like season five is also pretty heavily this. But season 6 and 7 both have plot lines where like the finale really hinges on the relationship between
The
Dean and Cass
tension.
and how they handle free will. And
Yeah.
like I think that's in season 6 it's all about the breakdown of their relationship, and
Yep.
here it's all about like sort of the fixing of their relationship.
the forgiveness. And once again, we have an example of Dean getting frustrated with Cass, but not like angry, but like frustrated, like, okay, focus up. And Cass is like, I don't want to fight. And Dean like takes another step back and is like, okay, no, we are just concerned. We're scared. Like we're worried. We need reassurance. Okay. Like he makes strides to explain himself to Cass in a way that Cass can get it and understand. And it's like, that's some Dean growth that has not shown itself in a while.
Yeah.
I love it. It's very good. You know
It
who
really is good.
you know who doesn't have well he okay. You know who didn't have growth before this episode for a while? My man Bobby.
Oh
Let's talk about
boy.
that real quick.
Let's talk about Bobby's arc in the last like few
Oh,
episodes. Like, man, we have watched Bobby go on a journey since
a
he died. Or
fucking
didn't,
roller coaster of up and down and right and back and left and stop, please. And then it did stop, and I was like, "Don't stop! What are you doing? I didn't want that." Seeing him get kicked out of the maid's body.
Which
And
again, I think is such an I don't know. Sorry, no, I have a point. I'm gonna make it after you finish making your point.
it's a choice. It's a choice to show that scene for sure, especially because it's heavily implied that that's not the first time, right? Because she recognizes him and has like, wait, please let me go, sir.
But isn't it like the same kind of possession as isn't it like the same as demons where like
Yeah.
the vessel is
Like aware the whole time?
aware and is watching everything going on, but it's
ghost possession. Yeah, ghost possession. I think we haven't had a lot of ghost possession,
No.
but ghost possession is more like demon possession.
Yeah.
Like you don't have control, but we don't have any reason to believe that you don't have
Sentience.
You don't know you don't experience what's going on. You just have no control over it if the ghost is particularly like strong. I think that's probably one of those things where it like a little bit depends.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fair.
But yeah, it is a choice.
It's a choice. And him, like, you know what? Fuck it. I need you. Like, I don't care. At that point, I was already like, damn, Jamie and I had it. We were just 2 seasons behind on calling Dark Bobby is coming.
He really like when you talk about free will, like Bobby's made a bunch of really significant choices since like that moment where he died and he didn't actually pass on. He held on. Like
huge
that's a
choice
choice.
Number 1.
Like it's sort of like a reminder of like free will, like every one of your choices isn't isolated. Because like every choice that Bobby has made has led to the next choice. And like he didn't let go. And then when he finally got contact with the boys, they were like, this is a bad idea. And he still didn't let go. And like he sort of made choice after choice. And then eventually he makes this choice of like, well, I'm possessing someone now. And then he gets the opportunity to take that choice back or like to stop and make a different choice when he gets thrown out. And he goes, actually, no. And he makes the choice again. Like it's, ooh.
Each
Bobby
one of these choices compound into a bigger and worse result afterwards. And it's like, okay. Yeah. And the thing about, those little choices adding up to a huge problem, which they seem small in the moment. It's like, well, I just got to do it right now for like this, whatever. But then eventually, like, you lose all perspective of who you are and what choices you stand for, which Bobby really demonstrates very well in this episode in particular. Like whenever Sam chases after him, which I was a little mad it wasn't Dean, but it was also really great because Dean's had some good scenes with Bobby already this season.
And he had a few chances to kind of ask, like, and to like kind of question Bobby on his choices.
Yes. And it was Dean was the one who was hesitant about keeping Bobby alive, like keeping Bobby's spirit around. Like he was like, no, we should, like, because that's our dad. And Sam was the one who was like, it's not right. And so having Sam go through that little arc of like, even if I think it's not right, I'm not gonna let him make this mistake. Like I stand for Bobby. I don't Ghost Bobby a little different, but like that's still Bobby. So I'm gonna go over there and try to protect him from making a choice that I know he'll regret or will change him into something that's not Bobby anymore.
Right. He's trying to by intervening, he's trying to be like, Bobby, like you are crossing a bridge you can't come back from.
Yep.
And you are not, and like you have made so many choices that have led you to the point where you are having a really hard time determining like morality and like the right or wrong of this. And you are starting to like actually do the thing that like Bobby, like if you think back to like season 1 and 2, like Bobby is the one, the first time we meet a possessed, or like not the first time we meet a demon, but the first time that they have a demon captured and they're trying to get information, Bobby is the one that goes, there's a person in there. And if we fuck this up, she gets hurt. Yep. And like for Bobby to have come all this way and now be like, he's the one possessing someone is like
abusing.
Yeah. And like taking advantage of this person.
Yeah.
Traumatizing them and taking away their consent and their like age, taking possession is the ultimate like taking away of someone else's free will.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing that's really hard to like
get past
that alters who you are as a person
fundamentally.
to have done that to someone else. And
I think that's like kind of what Sam is trying to do is like preserve Bobby's humanity because they know what they know what happens.
Yeah, they've seen
this is
it.
only going to get worse.
They know that this was coming. They've talked about the fact that this was coming and it was unavoidable.
If we go with the metaphor of, Bobby's in the process of crossing a bridge that he'll never be able to uncross, Sam is running from the other side of the bridge with like 2 football linebackers trying to like block him. He's like, hey, you cannot go across this bridge, please, please. And it's me. It's your son, your tallest son. Please love me. Don't kill me.
Trying to say that like he's trying to like I like what you said, Sam, about like preserving his humanity.
Yeah.
Because also the recognized consequences of this are going to be staggering for Bobby. Like if Bobby goes full vengeful, which he's really close to, that do they have the ability to let him go peacefully? They might not be able to let him go peacefully.
No.
They recognize that if they have to like take him out and it's not his choice, they don't actually know where those souls go.
Yeah. And Sam even says like when they're kind of talking about it very briefly after, and Bobby like starts to kind of apologize to Sam. Sam is like, well, I know it wasn't like
it wasn't you, not really.
It's like it wasn't you.
Yeah.
Like they recognize that this is not who Bobby really is, and that this is part of the process of being a ghost, and knowing Bobby's true character and trying to preserve that part of him.
Yes.
When he's not able to do that himself,
which is some huge growth, but also like a much better understanding than like Dean had in like season 3, I think, when he was all like, a monster is a monster, no matter how small, like fuck off. They're all evil, they're all bad. And now he's like, well, if he really is trying to be better, we need to like help that work. And Sam is like, I'm with you. I don't know if it's possible because look at all these signs that we've been seeing. And Dean's sort of like, well, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Okay.
And I think the line between a monster is just a monster is getting more and more blurred for them.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the earlier seasons, it was very black and white. Like
after season 5, like shit started getting
it's a lot more nuanced than that. And they're realizing that there's a lot of other pieces.
Yeah.
It's not just cut and dry.
They've regularly in this season work with demons. They have this sort of tentative alliance with Crowley,
the king of hell.
Meg is fully on their team. Like it is not as simple as like we only work with the good guys, and if you're on our side you're the good guy, and if you're not on our side you're the bad guy. It's like, especially once Angel started being like fucked up and evil, it was like, okay, wait, so these are supposed to be like the prime example of okay, so maybe not.
Yeah, it's not even just that like, oh, we don't work with the bad guys because they're bad guys. It's okay. It's not as simple as
good versus evil.
Good really versus evil. It's there's a lot more that goes into that. Which, hey, mad props to Zachariah for helping them realize that. Like that was he did one great thing by helping them get a little bit more perspective and empathy on other people's free will. Like that's some good shit. We love it.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Another thing that I am if we're gonna finish off talking about Bobby before we talk about the rest of it, because I need to. I will always be glad that I didn't have to watch Bobby burn. Like that would have
I appreciated that
crushed me.
I think they do. I think they do his actual goodbye really nicely.
They do it with a lot of care.
A lot of care. I just want either of the brothers to say I love you. Like that's fucked that they didn't speak that.
They're allergic to that. That's not something
they don't say that to each other. They don't.
But still, they could have said something like "see you on the other side, idiot," or like something that like speaks
they communicate
to Bobby
the same
and,
thing.
It's like, come on, you didn't say shit. Bobby has his speech, and neither one of the brothers says anything. And I was mad about that. I was like, what are you doing? This is your father. He is leaving forever now. Say something.
Fair. That's a fair.
Real heated.
That is fair.
But both of their expressions watching Bobby, like that was raw and real. And I was like, baby boys. Me too. Same. But it was both very beautiful and very frustrating at the same time, because I feel like them not saying a single thing is a wrong choice on the writers or directors or whoever that decision was left up to. But it was still beautiful.
It is, but that's fair.
It was better than him passing away in a hospital bed. Like,
yeah, I mean, this gave them some closure that they didn't have before.
For sure.
And I and Bobby ultimately kind of like does choose it.
Yes.
he does choose to go on, which is huge for like, I mean, he gets
Talking about
so
free
far over
will.
that bridge. Yeah. But I mean, like
Mhm.
Bobby turns it around and kind of like does make the right call.
Yeah.
Like he makes it too late, but he does eventually make it.
Yeah, especially because not like the brothers didn't have to remove him from the maid's body. Like he decided to step
Yep.
out and then was also like, "Hey, burn it." Like first of all, you should have done that at the start because Sam was right basically. But
Yeah.
like I know that this is the best thing because it's like an itch I can't scratch. It's going to come back
It
again.
finally sinks in. It finally
Yeah,
sinks in that he does not have,
perspective on his
yeah,
free will. Like
and that yeah,
he's out of control and he
yeah.
realizes that and respects that it needs to happen and that fucking hurt. It hurt me personally. But
It's a really sad kind of final goodbye to Bobby because like it's a really sad like Bobby's actually gone. He's not hanging on. They've burned the last remnant of him.
yep.
And and also like they do, if like, they do that early enough in the episode that it's like, oh, like Bobby is no longer like as much as like it was for bad reasons. Bobby was like probably the best shot they had at actually like Bobby going vengeful might have helped them.
Might have worked a little bit to help
Might have worked
distract
a little
Dick
bit,
because we
but
saw how powerful he was last time he showed down with Dick, and I was like, okay, he's got some abilities that Castiel doesn't seem to have. Like, okay, I like that, but at the sake of preserving Bobby
yeah.
as a human, as a person, as an icon, yeah, it's okay to take that step backwards in the fight against Dick. Like,
And they do that for a reason, and I think it's the right call. But it does mean that then suddenly they're left with like, and they're alone again. Like Sam and Dean are again sort of on their own. And again they're facing this monster that they only have sort of a plan to take down. And that plan depends on a lot of things going right. It depends on Crowley not screwing them. It depends on Meg not screwing them. It depends on Cass showing up. It depends on like a lot of things have to go right for this to work. And then that's sort of we drop into the episode and it's like, okay, they have to now try and do this without any assistance from Bobby.
Yep. Which they are able to do eventually, thanks to Cass deciding that, you know what, you're right. You
Cass
do
is
need me.
convinced. Cass is
Yeah.
convinced. I will say, I think that Cass does it because Dean actually like pulls him aside and like has a private conversation with him and like appeals to their relationship.
And it's a conversation where Dean is not like fighting for Cass to come on their side. He's like, I get it. Like, you're fine. I respect it. But also, like, our relationship means more to me than winning this fight, basically, is how that boils down, right? And he's like, I'm probably gonna die tomorrow, so I'm gonna forgive you for the shit you fucked up. Like,
we get another fucking last night on Earth speech between the two of them, which I think is important to note. That
it harkens back to Free to Be You and Me for sure.
It does. Like another, like again, with Dean initiating this sort of like, yeah, like I'm probably gonna be dead tomorrow, and like,
it's riveting. I was sad and I saw that scene between the two of them and I knew that had to be the scene that I picked my mixtape off of.
yes,
Because it was so real and so raw and about like how everything they've been to together was pushing them closer together, even though sometimes it pulled them apart, So like them going through Cass's whole problematic era, but him coming back again after that, like it tells you a lot about any relationship whenever you have struggles and you have like times that are really hard. Like you learn more about the other person, you learn more about yourself. Like that's part of the setup. And so I had to go with the song Priest by Group Project. And if you haven't heard this song before, take a second, go listen to it. It's okay if you hit pause on the podcast real quick while you go play it. And,
I don't know this song. I'm gonna have to come back to this before finish recording. I literally just pulled it up so that I can listen to it after.
It's so good. If we have
recording.
enough time after we finish, I'll play it on stream.
Sounds good.
It's very good. It talks about it's about how it's hard to breathe sometimes whenever the person you love is like around and you're like, oh my God, you're taking my breath away. Like, you know what? How long did I spend in school? I'm forgetting how to read these signs that she's throwing my way, these signs she throws at me. But then it talks about when I kiss you, when I hug you, when I tell you that I love you, that's not enough. When I shower you with flowers and make love to you for hours, that's not enough. Yeah, baby, please tell me why does this hell feel so damn good? Yeah, the priest, he tells me God didn't help me love you like I should. So
Ooh, that's a good line.
Having a whole like conversation about how every time I get resurrected by God, we think we don't know. It just gets worse every time, and it's a punishment to me that I come back every time. So maybe that's like him saying, yeah, you know what? God kind of fucked me up because I tried to love you and I sacrificed myself for you in season 5, like to get Sam to be thrown in the pit and all that, and then he came back. And it was like, okay, well, fuck, that's on God. He should help me a little bit there because he didn't give me the capacity to love you like I should be able to love you.
Ooh, yeah, that's a really good song choice.
And how long have I been sitting on that one in my notes? Oh, that's right. It's the 3rd song that I wrote here about songs that I needed to use at some point.
Oh, so you have been waiting for the opportunity to pull this. I
Correct.
fucking love that. I love when a song exists and you're just like, I'm going to use this. I have a few of those. I'm actually going to use one as well.
Okay.
Not to that same extreme, but this is a song off my Cass playlist. Because I was trying to pick a song that sort of captured the vibe of Cass of like, he's trying so hard he wants to watch the bees. He wants to look at the flowers. He wants to sort of like engage in all these like amazing things about being on Earth. And there's part of it that's like just him purely wanting to experience those things from the wonder of it all. And it's partly because he's avoiding dealing with the reality of like the consequences of his actions and like that. And it's like both of those things are happening. Like I think it's both of those things are happening for him. Anyway, so this song is called Journey. I don't think I've used it. If I've used it before, I'm using it again.
Fuck it.
Tough luck. It's called Journey of the Featherless. It's by Cloud Cult. The first verse goes, "Got myself a mission. I'm going to find heaven. I made crepe paper wings. I think they'll carry me well." And the whole song is about, like trying to fly when you maybe don't have wings. And like sort of seeking out the thrill, but also, maybe you're unlucky, maybe you're doomed. It's sort of, it's a fantastic song. It's been in my Cass playlist for probably 10 years. And felt like the right day today.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good call. I'm sat. I'm ready for it. It doesn't sound familiar also, by the way.
I do recommend it. I love Cloud Cult. They have some of the best, they have fascinating lyrics. I know I've used their stuff before and I highly recommend them as a band. They're very weird, but
fuck yeah.
They got really a cool vibe.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Sam, do you have a mixtape?
Okay. My choice is Memories by Maroon 5. I wanted to find a song about Bobby. Yeah, this one seemed to fit.
I mean, that's a good pick because we know that the boys, Dean specifically, struggles with alcoholism, and we could argue that Bobby does as well. So sometimes drinking, bringing back the memories of someone that you may have lost and that you want to remember the good times of, maybe that helps a lot. Maybe that, especially because Bobby is around because of a flask. Like,
I didn't even think of that.
Like,
so fitting. I'm just going to read a couple verses because
fuck yes.
It feels really filling.
Do it.
Fitting.
And filling.
Sure.
In my heart.
Okay. Says, because the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast the ones we've lost on the way.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's such a well-written song. You know how sometimes you hear a song and it's like, damn, whoever wrote that is a fucking genius with a pen.
Who wrote that song, Noah?
Does anyone know who wrote that song? Oh, it's my boy John Bellion. I could not say something about it because it's so good.
You had to say it.
So good. Hey, maybe tune into our Patreon for some bonus episodes where I just rant about John Bellion for an hour.
We'll just Noah
in a room talking about how good John Bellion is. Guys, those were some really fucking solid mixtape suggestions. I think our season mixtape has shaped up to be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, this is the last additions.
This is that
mixtape.
Yep. Unless somebody comes in with a banger in the awards ceremony, but who knows?
True.
It's going to be a good season mixtape. Speaking of, check that out on our website, QueryThingsPodcast.com.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh, I still have so many notes.
I think we need to back up a little and mention.
Let's do it.
Oh, maybe it's not backing up. We need to mention.
We haven't talked linearly anyway, so
that
at all.
Baby's back.
Okay, yes.
Baby's back.
Only to get fucked up immediately.
To
I
be
know.
fair,
I
that
was
is
like,
their
it's not Dean driving.
Yeah.
also,
You
but
wouldn't do
also,
that.
that speaks a lot to their trust in Meg that Dean let her
Yes.
drive his car. Like,
Yes.
what? What's happening?
Very
That's actually so
well,
surprising.
because
Drive and
it's
crash his car. Like, that's
yeah.
definitely in the plan. There's no way he would have let her be on the wheel if he didn't
Well-
know what they were going to do. Also, or if he didn't trust either her judgment or the plan they had set in place, he would have done it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally
So
fair.
like says either way, he
true.
knew this was a possibility and it was okay with that.
Meg has earned her spot on Team Free Will
Yes.
at this point. Like she has established herself as a trustworthy demon as far as that can go. But like to get to the point where, 5 seasons ago, you were betraying Sam Winchester for a song. Like it was like meant nothing to you to seduce him and turn him in, basically. And now to come full circle to where she is the linchpin in this plan that is gonna get fucked up in some sort of way. Going to get
It's
captured
really risky
by
for her.
somebody. Either
She's
it's Crowley
taking
and
a
his
lot of
minions
risk.
or the Leviathans. And she's like, yep, I'm in. Like, if this is our best bet, I'll do it. I love to see that.
It's really she takes on a lot of risk to be a part of this plan. And I like also like she has relationships with them now. Like not just with Cass, but she also like has relationships with Sam and Dean. Like tenuous relationships, but
More
I think
so
that
with,
they
with
believe
Dean.
Yeah, and I think they understand like what she said a few episodes ago about like I'm not on anyone's side, like I'm on my own side.
They relate
pick a
to
cause
that.
and I serve. I pick a cause and I serve it, and like they know that she wants to survive and she is going to work with them as long as that makes sense. And they're like, yeah, no, until Dick's dealt with, like she's not going to betray them because that's not in her best interest.
Because he is the big bad right now. He is the worst outcome for everyone on the board. So it's like, we gotta get him out of here. Otherwise, none of us can fight each other at all. Even the alpha vampire, like last episode,
including all
like,
the other monsters.
The monster of all the monsters, like everyone is
capital
like,
T.
no.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's like, okay, so he's bad, right? Like we can all agree he's the worst of us.
Including like what was I gonna say? Including Crowley. Like I think Crowley's another thing I want to talk about Crowley in this episode because first off, I love him. I love everything that's happening with him in this episode. It's so good.
Mark
It's
Shepard
so
sells it
perfect.
every single time, and I'm like,
Oh,
yes,
my gosh,
you sir,
yes.
you could put on some master classes.
And he's so, again, you're like, he's always talking about characters who like what they're choosing to do. And like, just like everyone else, his free will and his future is going to be impacted by Dick. And he is the only character in this episode that gets presented with a like deal. Where Dick's trying to make a deal with him.
Can we talk about the deal for a second?
Yes, let's talk about the deal for a second.
How did y'all feel watching that part of the episode?
Deal between Dick and Crowley?
Yeah, where he offers the demons all of Canada.
I have a question though.
So funny.
The deal is so the deal is Canada, but like in exchange for
not being exterminated by the Leviathans.
Right. Like basically being like, we won't. Oh, well, and the idea is that like he's offering Canada to be like, don't give the Winchesters your blood because that can kill me. He basically also is showing his cards.
But he also he says like coexistence with like we will let you guys have your space up there in Canada.
Yeah, he's like, let's not fight.
Right. Like we'll leave you
each other alone and have our own little corners.
Yeah.
You don't try and get the Winchesters to take us out, and we won't take you out.
But you're right that he very much is showing his cards by being worried enough about that eventuality that he's willing to make a deal with someone he called like a cockroach, basically. Like,
And,
well, he's aware that he can wipe out the demon, but then he's also aware that like if the demons work with the Winchesters, then
it's all over.
Can wipe him out.
Yes.
Yeah. And
which
so
do we think that
it's an interesting power thing?
We know Crowley didn't stick to the deal, right? And also he spent so much time working out this contract in order to stall Dick, right? That's what he was doing. He was distracting Dick from whatever else, giving the Winchesters time to get some shit together because he didn't.
And in order to make it believable, I think.
Yes. And he thought that the Winchesters
and I think
he's
enjoying himself too.
Oh, for sure. He's very much.
Crowley loves to fuck with a man.
Yes, he does. Especially if it's named Dick. But so I think he was very much giving the Winchesters more time to like get the other two pieces of blood because he's like, well, you don't have any of them, right? Because you don't have an angel on your side, right? So he thinks they have to find an angel who's fallen and find an alpha vampire or alpha monster. And so he's like, okay, I'll give them as much time as I can. I will drag this shit out and then I'll give them my blood. Anyway, because we knew Crowley wasn't going to hold to that deal. I knew that on a personal level. I was like, yeah, no fucking chance.
Yeah. No, Crowley. Like, Crowley also isn't smart enough to know that, like, what's going to stop Dick from eventually, like, Dick is top of the food chain.
He knows
Dick's gonna
eventually
get
a contract isn't going to stop him anyways.
Yeah, he's gonna get bored and he's gonna hunt down the rest of the demons. Like,
or they're gonna run out of humans, or like something's gonna go wrong. Like,
and
Canada
you know what's
is
weird
not
is that
enough.
a bunch of demons have a bunch of humans. Crazy. Let's go eat them.
Right. Well, exactly. And like they're saying you can have Canada. So the population of Canada in 2012 is 34.71 million. That was the population of Canada in 2012. So that's what he's offering in terms of the world population. That he's offering a very small amount of land. Like, he's offering quite a bit of land, but like,
I mean, Canada's big, but Canada's not
a lot of
like
land.
Populated.
But also, like, there's a lot of demons. We know there's a lot of demons.
Yeah. He doesn't say anything about the rest of the world.
Not a good deal for Crowley.
You know, he says you stay out of America because we need America. But he doesn't say you can only be in Canada. So, like, what about Europe? What about Asia? What is that free reign for both? We never really get
is that
full
territory for
clarification.
other? Is that like other monster territory?
Do we think that? Well, I don't think Dick would make those sorts of. Yeah, I don't think he would make those sorts of deals with anybody because he knows.
No, I'm not saying he made another deal with anyone, but I'm saying like maybe that there's an unspoken. We don't. You know, we have North America.
I don't think. I think Dick's going to take everything.
Yeah,
I think that's what is sort of. I think he says they want America because it's this sort of America-centric sort of like show.
Yeah,
like, I think that's why he emphasizes America.
And to be fair,
like the center of their operations.
It is like the country that struggles with obesity the most, and they want.
Yeah, I mean they have like their
and also the power center of the world, particularly 2012, like power center of the world. I think that's a lot of it.
I feel like China is adequate, like relatability.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But again, this is an American-centric show.
It's an American show
America
on the CW.
Is the center.
Yeah.
In the writers and producers' mind, the America, monster, of course, is going to look at the world and go, America. That's where I.
Totally fair. I think. Oh, okay, sorry. Different question that just occurred to me. Do we know anything about how Leviathans procreate?
I don't think that they do.
So there's a finite number.
And I don't think they. Yeah. And I don't. Yeah. Okay. I don't think they do.
Oh, right. Then how are they created? They were just
they were just made
since
like God
forever.
just made them. God just made them.
So they're all the same.
Were they like adults? Have they always been adults?
Well, I think they started possessing only adults or taking over adult bodies once they realized that was the best way to gain favor on Earth.
They're ancient primordial. I'm playing from the Supernatural Wiki.
Actually in human form. We don't actually know what their actual form is.
Bass does.
I mean, we saw the black goo. They seem that's the closest we've gotten to it.
Okay.
Yeah. We know they were locked in purgatory. We know that they predate angels, humans, and the soul itself.
And demons.
Yeah.
And the
soul
if they predate
itself. Angels, they have to predate humans.
Well, yeah, true.
But yeah, long before, I'm just gonna read this quote from Death, from Meet the New Boss, so from the beginning of the season. He says, long before God created angel and man, he made the first beast, the Leviathan. I personally found them entertaining, but he was concerned they'd chomp the entire petri dish, so he locked them away. Why do you think he created purgatory? To keep those clever, poisonous things out.
Okay.
So God was like experimenting and then was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, these things eat everything else that I make.
August and I talked about this last episode, I think, where it was like, we talked about how the balance of, his first creation had no soul, but a lot of power. And it's like, oh, okay, wait, that didn't work. So I'll give them a lot of power or a lot of, wait, what did I don't remember what it was. Cutting that whole bit. It was talked about last episode. I do think it's interesting that you bring up a Death quote about how fascinating he found the Leviathans. because what were they killing that made death happy? It had to be other Leviathans, right? Because at that point, it's before anything else that got made. It was
I
Leviathans.
mean, well, it doesn't. They were among God, like they're predating angels and humans. That doesn't necessarily mean that they predate everything.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
vampires are really
Well,
old,
okay.
Like a
too,
lot
right?
of monsters are really.
wait,
Like, again, I'm not really saying, and we don't have a lot of information to go off of at this point. Some of this is potentially stuff we'll know more about later, but like at this point,
Okay.
we just know we don't know the
Hmm.
exact order of creation. We just know Leviathans come before angels and humans. But also, I think that the idea is that God makes Leviathans, and then he makes angels and maybe humans, or maybe he just makes angels, and then maybe Leviathans start chomping angels, and he goes, oh no, and then locks them up. Like, I don't think we're
Okay.
saying they were locked up before any other things were created.
Oh,
We're just
okay.
saying that they were
Okay.
locked up
Okay.
they were locked up pretty early on. He made purgatory pretty early on to
Well, doesn't Cass say that he's never seen a Leviathan before?
but again, that doesn't just that like that
But Cass is younger.
well, it will also cast. Not every angel sees everything.
True.
There's a lot of angels,
True.
and also cast is like not every like you maybe think that's like when you think about how political heaven is.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily means for sure.
Okay. I thought
I'm speculating because we don't actually know.
Okay.
I'm
fair.
speculating a little bit
Fair.
here. So like your guess is as good as mine.
I feel like he made it sound like Leviathans were a bit of an urban legend that angels like talked about, but nobody had ever really seen.
I mean, that is maybe, and also like enough time has passed that might also be true just from like how long it's been since anyone has seen a Leviathan.
Either way, they're fucking done now, right? Like, are we going off of Phantom Menace rules where they stab Dick through the neck? And
I mean, again, that's basically what Crowley says. Crowley's like, you cut off the head, the body will follow.
But he kind of made it sound like they didn't like die, the rest of the Leviathans, but they are like formless. They have no like direction. And so he makes it sound like now we can kill them all. And it's like, okay, but we just learned that the only way to kill them is with this one specific knife.
Well, that's how to kill Dick. They've been killing and like destroying Leviathans for a while with the borax and the cutting off the heads and like separating them.
Oh, okay. So they just have to have like I think the idea very specific is coffins with like a head section and a body section, and
I think maybe separate. The idea is that now because Dick is dead, they won't have any impetus to actually like reform them. Like they won't have any push to like bring themselves back together because they don't have a purpose anymore. Like I think that's sort of like Crowley says, they're just another monster now. Like they're hard to kill. They're not easy to kill, but they're not impossible to kill anymore because they don't have any purpose anymore.
Okay.
Well, who says that? Is it Crowley that says that? Someone says at the end, like, oh, cut off the head and the rest of Flounder.
Yeah, it's Crowley.
Like that's.
But Flounder doesn't necessarily mean, to me at least, that like they die. It just means that
I don't think it means they die. I think they just don't have direction.
They're easier.
Not as much of a menace.
Yeah. They're easier to kill now. They're just another monster, which is true. Like they're just another monster now. Okay. And you have to have how to kill them just like any monster.
Yeah. They might be the most complex monster, but like still.
Yeah, they're still like the oldest monster we have.
Some tricks about them. So okay.
Right. Now they can just become another hunter, another piece of hunter lore that hunters need to know how to kill this specific monster.
Okay. It was very satisfying to see Dick get popped. He's
so annoying.
Yes, thank you.
I loved that fake plan. That was a good plan.
Yeah, no, it was very good, especially because they know how big his ego is, and that like he's gonna be ready for everything until he thinks that they've failed, and then his plan like fizzles out, and it's like, okay, and we knew that about you. Bye.
And they use their relationship too. Like, do you think Cats use their like we've been on the outside? Like it's sort of, but even though like Dick doesn't know that, they kind of play up they play this up. And they play out this sort of like Cass, who's this sort of like broken angel who doesn't know what's going on and like is like kind of avoidant. But Cass has made a choice. Like again, we're talking about free will. Like Cass has made a choice to go with Dean and to like he says, I'll go with you. I'll do my best.
Fuck.
Fine. I'm fine. That whole conversation, I'm fine about. Totally normal.
Okay, sorry. The way that you just said that reminded me of a very specific song that I'm going to enter in as an additional mixtape suggestion. I have to go with My Blood by 21 Pilots. Because it's like,
Ooh.
I'll go with you no matter what the fight is. Like, if
Yeah.
anybody shows up to fight us, I'll go with you because you stayed with me and you're my blood. And it really tracks because, first of all, the whole point of the episode is they need blood. They need their blood from all these different people. So it's like, no matter how dark it gets, no matter how intense it gets, at the end of the day, I'll go with you.
Yep.
I should have picked that one
At the
as
end
the
of the
first one.
day, I'll go with I'll go with you. I'll do my best. Like right after the we're probably gonna die tomorrow. I detect a note of forgiveness. That whole conversation, like I'm like Cass talks about like he's like I'm not good luck. Like resurrection is a curse, which again, like oh boy, we've come so far.
Okay. But also Dean's response being like, "You think I'm good luck?" And then Cass is kind of like silent for a second, like, "Well, you are for me." Like that's what he's thinking in his head. He's like, "Well." I mean,
right. He doesn't think of Dean as bad luck because Dean is one of the best things. Like Dean is the thing that Dean is the being that opened the door to free will for Cass.
Yeah, the brightest thing in Cass's life over the millennia he's existed. Yeah. Dean is the brightest.
Yeah. And so then it makes it all the more meaningful when Dean says, like, I'd rather have you, cursed or not. Like, I don't give a fuck if you're cursed by God or the narrative. Like, I'd rather have you, even if you're cursed.
Because I want you physically, biblically.
In every way.
In all of the above, please. But anyway, it moves right on.
Such a good scene. That's like an icon. It's one of the most iconic Dean and Cass scenes in the whole show. It's so indicative of their relationship. That quote is.
There's no mixtape here in this scene, but so that's the top scene, I'm sure, in your mind of if you're ranking.
It's hard to honestly.
Fair.
We still got a lot of good SDL
we got a lot of
scenes. Good shit.
This is kind of going backwards. Maybe you can cut this.
Hell yeah, never.
Oh.
We already talked about we're not following linear.
No, I mean this is
going
wobbly,
back timey.
But Elena could not join us today, unfortunately. But they wanted to have this included that when baby came back and they say in all caps, "I self-destructed with joy."
God, I love Elena.
Same.
They're so good.
I think I audibly shrieked.
Yeah, I was so hyped. I was like, "Oh my God, that's baby right there!" And then it got crashed immediately, and I was like, "The fuck are we doing here? What is this, y'all?" And then Meg got out, and I was back on the "Oh shit, let's go!"
Yeah,
it was a weird roller coaster of emotions for me.
That's fair.
Not quite at the self-destruct level that Elena represents, but I respect it and I get it.
Yeah.
It was very good. I liked that a lot. Once they do pop Dick in the throat, right? There's like a weird like fluctuating energy around Dick, and then he explodes and he pops. And then Dean and Cass were gone, and I was like, some gears started ticking in my head.
Did you start to all of a sudden figure some stuff out really quickly?
Yes, very much so. Because I know that there is, I don't know if it's a full season, but a part of a season, majority of a season, I feel like, that is based in purgatory. And I know this because there's like a very intense like black and white type of filter over any scenes in purgatory, and like I've seen plenty of those gifs all over the place. But I was like, oh, Dean and Cass are both gone, and Crowley's giving a whole speech to Sam about how he's all alone. Where else could they have gone? It's got to be somewhere Sam can't reach. Oh my God, it's season 8, the purgatory season. Like, is this where shit happens? Like, this is what I know to be a purgatory focused season, or what I assume. I don't know really, but
right. We'll just leave you in those assumptions.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
We do know based on the end of this episode.
We know they're there. That's where they're there.
That we can tell you.
And Cass leaves Dean behind.
Oh boy,
didn't love that.
Oof, my gosh,
did not. Yeah,
he's like, haha. So we're in purgatory, and
we're probably gonna be ripped apart. Oh,
he's scared. He's terrified.
Cass is scared, and he leaves his human boyfriend behind.
Well, this is Monsterland. I mean, purgatory is where
it's not an excuse.
Go.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, if the angel is scared, what do we think the humans are gonna feel? Terror.
Yeah.
Like,
like they're in purgatory. Purgatory was literally made for the Leviathans and is where all the monsters go.
Yeah.
Like that's where monsters go.
Okay, I'm sure we'll get this question answered next season, but if you kill something in purgatory, well, no, sorry. Cass makes it sound like they're destined to hunt each other again and again for eternity. So, like, if you die as a monster in purgatory, you probably respawn, back at your last save spot, like at your bed in Minecraft. But maybe like we don't have any sort of information about what happens to an angel that dies in purgatory or a human that dies in purgatory. Like,
yep. Yeah, they're sort of in territory where like they're not supposed to be there. Like Cass says, every soul here is a monster.
Which Dean probably hears that and is like, "Oh, okay, I belong here." Dean, you're fucking wrong.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say it,
You're
but
a hero,
I'm glad
Dean.
you did.
You're a hero and you don't belong there. And you have stood up for so many different types of people, so many different types of creatures. You've stood up for monsters. Like, fuck off. You don't belong there. I know he's going to have a lot of self-doubt about himself belonging. I know that.
Oh, Purgatory is so fascinating. Purgatory is so fascinating what it does for these characters.
A big flashback to like season 5, I think, where they first like introduced the idea of like, where do you think monsters go when they die? And it's like, because I don't think it was season 6, was it? It might have been, but I feel like it was season 5 when they started sprinkling in that idea. Mm-hmm. And season 6 was a lot more focused.
Yeah, season 6 is really when I think they really start to develop the Purgatory like lore.
Yeah.
Because Cass is trying to get souls out, like they're trying to get souls out of Purgatory because they're powerful.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, I'm ready for this next season. Can we go through? Can we go through this next one a little bit faster?
Hey, yes, no. We absolutely can and should. Also, we're gonna have to because we don't have a buffer of recorded episodes anymore, so we're gonna have to.
That's true.
We're gonna have to go through the first 4 real quick.
We are gonna have to go through the first 4 really quick. Get some buffer out before we start recording D&D again.
True.
Yeah. Can we talk about the end scene when Sam is just like not the end scene, but like before it cuts to Dean and Cass.
Yeah, of course. Sam and Crowley solo.
It hurt my heart.
Mm-hmm. What specifically? Speak on that.
I think just like
speak on that.
Sam's face when he's like, first of all, he's like just confused. He's like, "What the fuck? Where are they?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Crowley is Crowley. Yes.
Yeah.
Crowley being like, "You are well and truly on your own."
For the first time.
And just like his face.
Yeah, that was crushing. I'm not going to lie. That was horrendous to see.
It's his worst. I feel like it's his worst fear.
Well, and Sam has chosen to be alone before. Like he's chosen to leave, but Sam is not usually the one who's left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like this is a new experience. Usually when it gets to the point where he's too much, behind. Sam pieces out.
Yep.
He's not been left behind before. Like this is not like,
especially
not
by Dean. Especially by Dean.
Yes. Oh yeah.
He never
was
left
by
him
John.
Yeah, John left both of them behind, but he left
John doesn't count.
Oh, well, there was one hunt where Dean went.
Oh, definitely Sam has, but that's what I mean. Sam has maybe hasn't experienced this since he was a child.
Yeah, it wasn't like Dean's choice. Yeah.
As soon as Sam had the ability, as soon as Sam was 18 and had the ability to leave, he left.
Yeah.
He started doing the leaving.
Yeah.
And that has now been like a long time since he's experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
8-10 years minimum.
Yeah.
Right? Like I didn't like that. Especially because
it's kind of like, okay, yay, we won.
But it got at what cost?
But now I'm alone.
Yes. Especially because like his last hope in that moment, because he knows Bobby's gone. Mm-hmm. He sees that Dean and Cass are gone. His last hope in that moment is, well, Kevin's still here. And then Crowley takes Kevin. Which can we just
talk about Kevin?
Yeah, can we take a little second real quick to talk about how
Kevin's
fucking good Kevin was in this episode?
Damn.
We already know that he gave information about the Winchesters and about the plan, about what the word of the Lord said and all that. But that was to protect his mom. So like I don't blame him for that at all. Totally understandable. Yeah. But then him breaking out of Leviathan lockup and being like, okay, I'm about to get out. And then doesn't. And that fucking sucks. But on the way out, he heard all of Dick's plan. Like he heard the intricacies of all of it. And he's like,
Kevin's fucking smart. And like
so smart.
He and he is a fast learner. Like Kevin learned so much so quickly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Kevin Kevin didn't know how to pick a lock before. There's no fucking way Kevin in his regular life before this likely knew how to pick a lock. I think that's something he learned really fast. I like the idea that he learned that really fast because like in what situation as like an honor student would he have the need to know how to pick a lock or the desire to want to learn?
Well, okay. Let me just say, I know it's been a bit longer since you were in high school than it was for me. No offense, no shade.
Okay, yes, we were both homeschooled.
I know,
also,
but that's what I'm
so
saying.
neither
High
of us
school
has anything
age.
to say about
High
this.
school age. Fuck off.
Rude.
Make your damn point.
I don't know if you know this, but like back when you're in high school age area, it's a really cool flex to be able to pick a lock. Like that's a huge flex.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, does Kevin in his personality, as we saw him before,
No.
Did he ever?
Does he give that vibe of that kind of person?
Did he
ever
want to get into?
Would he
I don't think
favor?
Kevin ever
break
had
into
party
something?
trick. Kevin wasn't a party trick.
Kevin's not going to break into something.
No.
He's going to break a rule.
I don't think he would have done it to break into something, but he would have done it in case he ever needed to. Like he would have learned that shit.
I don't think that was on his radar.
One of my neighbors got locked out of their apartment. I was like, oh, you know what I have? Let me go grab my lockpicking set because I know how to do it. And bam.
You're okay, but think about you.
I'm not
making
saying
a good argument.
As a personality.
I'm not saying I'm equivalent to Kevin. I'm not saying that. He was an honor student. He took the SATs. Like
that's what I mean.
Scored
Kevin
fucking
is like
phenomenal.
And like his family and his class as well. Like he's clearly like a wealthy.
Yes. Okay. No.
Like
that's fair.
Really educated. I just think it's like I don't know. We can debate this all day. I don't think it's.
I will concede this point to you. That
it's fair. It's really a moot point because you could be right as well.
My opinion of cool was a lot different than Kevin's opinion of cool. So you're right. You're right.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Who did he learn it from?
I think he learns it. I think, like August said, he learns it on the fly. Like he learns things really quickly.
He like learns it based on like
he probably watched them and practiced it a couple times, and now he knows.
Can I have a counterpoint? Semi-counterpoint.
I can see. Sure. Oh, you know what would be really cute? I can like see a scene of like Sam or Dean teaching him.
Okay, that would be
really cute,
and I do appreciate that.
Like,
I
feel
like
you do it.
There's an
surely they taught him some stuff.
There's a decent chance that while Kevin was studying for some test or another, he had a YouTube video on in the background about like how locks work, how the internal mechanics work. So like he could put two and two together and like, oh, so if I need to pick it, this is how I got to do it. I feel like that's a more realistic than my way. I'm not saying more realistic than y'all suggest. More realistic than me saying he did it to be cool. I think him just knowing how locks work.
Yes.
Is on brand.
Yeah. That's sort of
I would agree
the
with
point
that.
I was trying to make is like I think Kevin is really fucking smart and we really get to see how resilient he is in this episode because he's not helpless in this situation.
No, I do wish we heard anything about where his mom is. Like
valid.
Right?
As far as we know, she's still captured by Leviathans and held captive in order to get Kevin to be playing along with it. I don't know.
Yeah, we literally don't know.
No.
What happened.
I don't like that.
R.I.P. Kevin's mom.
Or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not, Sam. Maybe.
You're right.
I don't like the way you said that.
Wait and see.
I hated it. Okay. What else have we got this episode, guys? What else we got?
I think that's the end of my notes.
I have a couple of small notes. How important is lipstick to you, Dean?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Not especially trans Dean writes again. Okay. Confirmed.
Yes.
Confirmed for sure. But I also think that the thing that was running through Dean's mind in that moment was picturing, because he was like, well, I mean, I guess the only like good thing about lipstick is like when someone gives me a kiss and it leaves behind a little like lipstick thing, like that's kind of hot. And then he looked at Cass and was like, Cass with lipstick. And then he like paused for a second and was like,
he's like, I gotta be cool.
Anyway,
I gotta be cool.
I guess it's not that much. Like, it's fine. But he was definitely picturing Cass with lipstick on for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
A phenomenal line to point out.
Yeah. There. I don't even really want to talk about like the whole Leviathans,
That
killing
phobic
humans,
ass
like that. But
plan.
it's just gross. The whole
It's
thing with Polly
Oh,
is
the
gross,
scene with
and we
the
don't need to.
girl.
We don't need to
Yeah.
talk about why it's gross. Like it's
no,
obvious that it's gross.
fucking nasty.
It's
And
so nasty.
the one like
We spent so much
bright
time on this
part
episode too.
of it is that it's like obviously those are the bad guys doing that plan. Like so it's like the writers aren't trying to give any sort of support there. And they do give a little bit of support in the opposite direction via Kevin being like, we have to blow this shit up. It's not enough to just kill Dick. We need to
Yes.
blow the
Yes.
shit out
Yeah.
of this whole place.
Like the Kevin's gone right to like
Like
explosives.
he's like, okay, what if we blow it all up? Like I relate to Kevin
Kevin
so
has
much.
gone from
Kevin has grown so much.
I'm
Mhm.
so stressed about I'm so stressed about this test. He's gone from that to gonna blow shit up in like the span of like
two
a few
weeks
weeks,
at
2
most.
weeks,
Like
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love him for that so very much. I think that it's just so fucking gross, the whole Levi plan and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, okay. I get that you want to make more food for yourself, but like the way that you portray it, the way you talk about it, literally every part of it is just nasty. And I want zero part in it. I would be right behind Kevin. I'd be like, yeah, let's fucking blow this shit up, dog. I got a lighter right here.
Also makes me just want to see more Kevin Sam interaction.
Yes.
They have a couple fun moments in this episode.
Yeah.
This
Are
lighter is
you
not
trying to
working right.
blow something up?
I was trying to
Noah?
light this lighter.
I was like, you look,
It's a sick
yeah. I was like,
looking
I think
lighter.
that's what it is. Please be careful because I'm worried you're gonna like.
Well, and
put a
to be
bunch of-
fair, this
and
is
all of a
the
sudden it's
curse
gonna go,
lighter that like did the fireball last time.
So maybe don't
Well,
play with it.
Now
gonna
I'm just
have
trying to figure out what the
speed dial.
San
How
Antonio
do I call
911.
How do I call 911
There we
in
go.
Texas
Noah,
It's all good. It's all good.
for that reason?
are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I hit my
Singe
elbow on my
yourself a
chair.
little?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You singed your mustache?
Nope. All good.
You're
All
good.
That was a big ass fireball though.
That was a
Wasn't
big
that
fireball.
was not
Oh my
so
God.
a small amount of fire.
It was a lot of fire. Okay.
So much fire.
um,
I think we'll talk more next week, Noah, about your like actual predictions. We'll give you like a week to like
Oh.
think on it
okay.
for your predictions for season 8 and how it's going to start out. So
Well,
like keep that in the back
that's-
of your mind. We'll talk about it next week.
That's a pretty good call. I will appreciate that time and I will make the most of it.
Great. We'll do that during our awards show.
Well, you know what? Now that we've finished our hunt for the whole season, it's time for our final, some might say favorite section of the episode / season. It's our character blessings. Who would you guys like to bless for the final time this season?
I'd like to bless Bobby.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
go
kidding.
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
not actually going.
Yeah,
I'm going to let
tell
you
me,
bless Bobby.
tell me everything about it. Oh,
Oh
weird.
my God.
You don't
Noah
have enough.
fucking
You
muted
don't,
me.
No, I'm muted,
you
August.
don't have a lot to say. That's so weird there.
Uh,
Don't cross Noah. Don't do it.
When it comes to Bobby, don't do it.
I'm gonna bless Dean because he shows some emotional growth in this episode in the way that he communicates with Cass, and it's not perfect, but it is an improvement, and I think it takes some steps to repairing their relationship. And it really sucks that in the end the episode ends with them being in purgatory and him being alone, also kind of his worst nightmare, surrounded by monsters. So yeah, just a blessing to Dean. It sucks when you do the right thing and shitty things still happen.
Yeah.
So blessing for him for, surviving purgatory.
This is a timely reference. Dean is sort of having his no good deed goes unpunished sort of revelation. Alphabet. In part 2 of Wicked. Sorry, I'm mad that they split it up into 2 parts, but whatever. If you know, you know.
I'm seeing it literally tomorrow.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm seeing
Oh
it
my
tomorrow.
God, guys, it's so good.
I'm
I
so
love
excited.
this so much. Okay. Let me know your thoughts afterwards.
Will do.
I would like to primarily bless Sam. Surprise, surprise.
It'd be a very surprising episode of Blessings.
Yeah. He, almost gets killed by his dad and then has to also say goodbye and gets left at the end.
Mhm.
It's really heartbreaking to see him come to that realization and what that means for him going forward. And then I would also like to bless Polly because damn, she didn't deserve that.
No, she really didn't. You're so right. I respect that. My blessing this week is going to go to Kevin because Kevin really puts his heart and soul into saving his mom and trying to protect his family, his reality as a human. Like he is putting his heart and soul into this. Oh, and then also I'm gonna bless my boy Bobby. Whoops, didn't see that coming. I'm blessing Bobby because he puts his heart, his soul, his ghost soul into protecting his boys, and he does it so much that he ends up becoming the thing that he was afraid of becoming, and the thing that he has fought against his entire life. And he realizes that, and he takes steps back, and he forces them to let him pass on. And that broke my heart again. And I really love Bobby so very much, and I respect the hell out of him, and I wish him only the best after this episode, and I will miss him very much so. But I'm glad that he went out the way he did.
Yeah.
It was strong and it was solid, and it really felt like this whole season was a bit of a love letter to Bobby as a character, because they showed him at his best, then they showed him at its worst, and then they showed him swinging back up to best again. And I'm there for that. I love that because everybody goes through highs and lows in their lives, and the ability to pull yourself out of the lows to get back up to the highs is huge.
It is huge.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see a really good arc for Bobby, and it's been really good. We're gonna talk about that a bunch, I think, in awards.
Oh,
I think we'll have a lot to say about that.
Better believe it.
But
tune in next week, everybody. But you know what? Speaking of next week, that's all we've got for Here and Now and today. So you know what? This was a phenomenal episode. Thanks for coming on, guys. It was a phenomenal conversation. It was a blast to talk to you guys about this episode and break down start to finish. Appreciate it.
It was. It's a good finale. It's an enjoyable finale, and I won't say that I'm sad that we're done season 7, because I'm really excited for season 8. But like I've enjoyed this season.
Me too. It was up there. I'll save my season ranking for next week. But I really loved it. And
cool, exciting.
In case anybody out there has any, they want to know more about us as people, us as podcasters, people like friends that get along very clearly, very well. Tune into, our Patreon release. Again, down in the description, down below. You can support us from any level, from $1 to $20 at this point. We're testing it out. We're testing the waters.
And even at $1, you're going to get a bunch of bonus content.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be really fun. So,
my promise here and now is that the more people that join, the more often that bonus content will come out. Because if I am not getting any sort of ability to take time off of work, I won't have as much time to edit the bonus stuff. So you know what? It's fine. I get it. I will do my best to keep up with that, but I'm also editing 3 podcasts weekly. And
Noah is the editing master.
A 4th one every other 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. So
Noah edits does a lot of editing.
But if you want to hear more from us and us being silly and us being really fun and just us talking about stuff that we love to talk about, fuck yeah, tune in. At least get that bonus content. Please. It's worth it. I swear.
Yeah. And if you want to listen to more episodes of this show, you can subscribe to Saving People Queering Things wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share the show with your friends. If you want other ways to connect with us, you can join our free Discord server or find links to our socials or listen to the latest season mixtapes. All of that and the link to our Patreon will also all be at our website, which is queeringthingspodcast.com.
Another thing you can listen to if you're not already, which I don't know why you wouldn't be already.
Why the fuck are you not?
Is our Queering People Saving Throws, which is our D&D adventure that features all of us, our main crew, along with KJ of Supernatural Opinions. We just finished recording the finale of the
season 1.
Yeah, so that won't come out for a while because we're recorded in advance, but
behind. Yeah, it goes back to the editing free time thing that we talked about a little while.
But it's super fun. It was a great finale. We're really excited about it. So make sure to give that a listen.
Yeah.
Wow, shucks. Be sure to ride along with us next week as we hit my personal favorite episode of the season. That's right. You fucking know it. It's season 7 awards time. We're going to throw our favorites into the ring and fight it out until we have our winners. You got to tune in because I can't wait, because I know this one is going to be...
It's going to be fun.
A brawl.
Oh, Noah's coming ready to fight it think.
I'm coming hot.
I think if we don't give Bobby every single award, Noah's going to be mad at us. So
I'm gonna nominate him for
prepared.
every award. Like, that's my boy.
So, yeah, but until then, thank you all so very much for coming along for the ride, and we wish you a peaceful road until we meet again.